You only challenge us on scales on levels where you can try to even the playing field.
So no, I think they're smarter. They're smarter. Because listen, why would I challenge you in a space where I know that you will dominate it? The wise part,
they already challenged us in a space that we dominated.
No, they challenge you in a space where they know that you're weak at.
They challenged us in the space where we dominate. We had created civilization. We created technology so everybody can live comfortably.
Correct.
What do? They go and advocate and they get their flags and they get their posters and they go and march and change the laws.
Right. Because they know that you're not going to do nothing about it. That's where we weak at.
But it's not necessarily that we're weak. It's that the people who own and control most of the wealth
that's
as a monetization strategy and they embraced it, saying, okay, we can make even more if we can keep these women single and challenge their husbands.
You missed the chess move. We're weak at communicating. We're weak at gathering together as a unit unless we're opposing another force that's threatening our lives. We don't realize where the challenge is happening at because it's in the mobilization. For example, guys tend to be territorial. And so as a result of it, we go through life only aligning with other people, whether or not it threatens our territory or not. What they say is, listen, we're going to gather together because 100 of us is stronger than that one. And then they go and conquer that one, and then they go and conquer that one, and then they go and conquer that one, and so on and so forth. And they're beating you in spaces where you're weak at because that's not something that we tend to practice. And that's not something that we tend to traverse. We tend to spend a majority of our energy on our physical abilities to be able to do things.
Can you give me a representation, an example of a space where it was 100 women as one man? So, Ken, to your example, and where they beat us where we was weak at.
Feminism.
Okay, so how did feminism get approved?
Well, feminism got approved because you had a group of white women that were advocating for different rights, and then they recruited all of the black women in order to be able to get on a team in order to continue to push these agendas forward. That's literally how they did it.
Who's the final approving authority?
What do you mean? Who's the final approving authority? You don't need an approving authority if you have. It's called rebellion. Whenever you want to see change in any environment, what you start to see is a rebellion. And what we didn't do is quell the rebellion because all we wanted was pussy. And so you seen this guy falling off over here and he going to child support court, and this guy going over here and he getting Me Too'd, and this guy over here and he's over here in this way. And what they did, they continued to rebel until they became a movement. And now they're the dominating force. Now they're the dominating force because they determine our laws. They determine who's going to become president of the United States. They determine who's going to go to jail. They are literally the mob. The mob is Rome. That is what they are now.
But that's what they want you to think. But there's still somebody at the top. Whenever that rebellion actually succeeds or get enough influence for somebody to sign a document, who is the signer? Who is the person that says,
I'll give you an example, Bruizzr.
I've seen people march up to the Capitol building all the way in until they got onto the Speaker of the House desk and took a shit on it. And nothing happened.
No,
you know why?
They literally
it wasn't in their benefit. It wasn't.
They took most of those dudes to jail. All of them dudes went to jail.
I get it.
Every last one of them those dudes. Now, let me tell you what didn't happen. Every last one of them Black Lives, every person got behind these women movements when it came to Black Lives Matter. Who was it ran by? A bunch of women who are lesbians. A bunch of lesbian women are running Black Lives Matters, and y'all didn't say shit to them. But then y'all have everything to say about what was going on over at the Capitol building.
Oh, I said what I had to say. But what I'm saying is, amidst of all of the rebellion and all the protests, at the end of the day, there's still somebody to oversee what gets passed, what gets allowed, and what penetrates, and to make the changes in society and regulations and laws. It's all that stuff.
Yes, it's called women. It's called AOC.
So women at the end.
Now she's a part of the legislative branches. It's called Gretchen Whitmer. She ran what the fuck was going on in Michigan. She's the one that determined what was going to happen during the pandemic. And even Trump couldn't tell her what the fuck to do. Because what we found out during the pandemic is that every state has is basically its own island when it comes to determine what's going to happen to the people. And so when you see these women that are getting into power, they are starting to be the ones that determine what's happening in our election, our laws, and they mobilizing every single day. And we saying they ain't really got no power because it's the men that determines what happens. Okay, keep thinking like that and see what happens.
Well, I totally agree that it is the men who determine. It's a small percentage of men that determine what happened, but those men who's determining what's happening is actually benefiting from the things they're granting to women, the power they're giving to women, and it's not for society. It's for them specifically, and they can care less about the rest of the world. They can care less about the rest of the people. They don't give a damn about the kids and none of that.
The question is,
let them do whatever they want. Long as our pockets stay fat and our families flourish, we can care less about anybody else.
Because we at the bottom of the totem pole. The question is, are women built to challenge men? I'm saying that they're doing it every day and they're winning, because it's not about whether or not they're going to challenge you or not. We're seeing it happens. It's how it is that you respond to it. And the weak men are continuing to get conquered every single day. They're losing their seats in the House of Representatives. They're losing their seats in Congress. They're losing their seats in council, so on and so forth. And they're continuing to be challenged every day. We're not challenged.
I understand you. I understand you. We can agree to disagree. I do see that they're actually carrying out the gesture of actually challenging. I just firmly don't believe. I believe they're being allowed to do these things. I believe there's a group of people, or maybe a person. It could be a group or a person. I believe there's a person over there that's saying, "Look, we're gonna allow this to happen." I don't feel like women have enough power to just bogart their way through society like this. There's no way. There's no way. We've been a dominant creature on this planet for all these centuries. And you telling me when we get to the 21st century, we're just gonna lay it down? No fucking way. No way.
Can I,
No
can
way.
I ask a question?
No way. I'm not convinced. There's nothing you can say to convince me that man is just going to come all the way where everything is fine and dandy. Civilization is flourishing. Everybody's thriving. We got air conditioners, all these things, microwave society. And we just going to say, lay it down. Oh, women, you can have at it.
I just seen them take down some of our most prominent figures. They took down fucking Bill Cosby. They fucking took down all of the heads of all of these movie houses. They took down the executives. They created a Me Too movement. Motherfuckers was coming out of the woodwork from 30 years ago saying, believe me, just because I said it. And they took down all of these motherfuckers. They took down Epstein. Every single great man has been taken down as a result of the women. How you think that it was men that was against Trump? It wasn't. It was women.
So let me ask you this, Anton. Okay, let's say we had a civil war and it was between man and women right now. Just broke.
But it's not. It's already a civil war, and you just don't.
Let's say the man at the power that be the man at the top decided. Hey, look,
women do not have a voice, bro.
Oh, geez.
Men use women.
I'm telling you, women are puppets.
Women utilize women as pawns.
Women are puppets in this society, bro.
Women are puppets, bro. Women don't have no damn.
Women are a tool of destruction.
Right.
What the hell?
Women
I think
like
I can kind of
dynamite, but we have to like this
say.
stick of dynamite.
It sounds like y'all saying women are being used to push some sort of agenda, but it's
Yeah,
also
women
like
ain't never been that intelligent enough.
Wait, hold. I'm just saying, Bruizzr. It also sounds like if you said that